Hello everyone. So this is the second part of respiration, and in this lecture we'll be discussing the glycolysis process in detail. So first of all, let us understand the complete gist of the topic. So in very simple terms, we can say that in the process of glycolysis, we have the glucose getting converted into the pyruvic acid, and there occurs the formation of 2 pyruvic acid. And along with that, we have 2 ATPs and 2 NADH formed in the process. So now first of all we need to understand that what it is. So it is actually the part of respiration. And what is respiration we have already discussed in the previous video. So let's just recall it once. So the process of respiration in the plants involves using of the sugars, that is the glucose, which is produced during the photosynthesis, and also we are using oxygen in order to produce the energy, and that energy is produced in the form of the ATPs, which is used for the plant growth. So this is the complete reaction of the respiration, that is we have glucose plus oxygen getting converted into the carbon dioxide and water, and along with that we have the ATP produced, and this ATP is the energy currency of the cell. So let us understand about the glycolysis now. So talking about the glycolysis, it is a universal process. Why we are calling it universal? Because it occurs in both the aerobic and the anaerobic organisms. About this we have already discussed that glycolysis is the first step in both the aerobic and the anaerobic pathways. And secondly, we can say that in glycolysis there occurs the oxidation. This glycolysis is also known as the EMP pathway, that is Embeden-Meyerhof-Parnas pathway, because these were the scientists that helped in the discovery of this process. In this process, we use glucose as the substrate. Substrate means something which is used at the initial step. So we are using the glucose as a substrate, and there occurs no involvement of oxygen. That is the reason why it is found in both the aerobic and the anaerobic organisms. And talking about the products that we obtain, we have 2 moles of NADH formed in this process. Along with that, we have 2 pyruvates. It is a 10-step process and there occurs no decarboxylation. And finally, we have substrate level phosphorylation. So, in very simple terms, substrate level phosphorylation means formation of ATP. It is the cytosol that is the site for the glycolysis to occur. So, in case of glycolysis, we have 2 main phases. The first phase is the preparatory phase, and then we have the payoff phase. The initial 5 steps are known as the preparatory phase, and the final 5 steps are the payoff phase. So let us look into the glycolysis process in detail. So first of all, let us recall the site. So both in the case of the prokaryotes and in the eukaryotes, we have the cytosol where the glycolysis occurs. So let us look into the pathway now. So it is the glucose which is used as the substrate in this process. So the glucose gets converted into glucose 6-phosphate, and then the glucose 6-phosphate gets converted into fructose 6-phosphate. This fructose 6-phosphate, after using 1 ATP, gets converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So this fructose 1,6-bisphosphate gets converted into PgAl or DAPH, that is dihydroxyacetone phosphate. These two are isomers of each other and can be interconverted. DHAP gets converted into 1,3-BPGA, that is 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, which gets converted into 3-PGA, that is phosphoglycerate. And at this step there occurs the elimination of two ATPs. This 3-PGA gets converted into its isomer 2-PGA, that is 2-phosphoglycerate, which by the help of the enzyme enolase gets converted into PEP, that is phosphoenol pyruvate, and this phosphoenol pyruvate finally gets converted into the pyruvate or the pyruvic acid after the elimination of two ATPs. So these were the complete 10 steps. The most important steps to focus upon are, that is the step 1, step 3 and step 10. Why I am calling it important? Because these steps are single direction steps. Remember, in biochemistry, any reaction which is a single direction reaction is the regulatory step. You can observe carefully that except for first, third and the 10th step, all the other steps are bidirectional. Hence, they are not regulatory in nature. If you want, you can remember all the enzymes name, but the most important enzymes to remember are of the step 1, 3 and 10. At the step 1, we have hexokinase or glucokinase, which helps in the conversion of glucose into glucose 6-phosphate by the usage of one ATP. And also we need to remember that Mg2 plus is used as a cofactor by this enzyme for functioning. So let's talk about their positive and negative regulators. So for hexokinase, glucose is the positive regulator and the negative regulator is glucose 6-phosphate and ATP. It is very important to remember these positive and negative regulators because many questions have been asked previously. So let's talk about the enzyme, that is phosphofructokinase, that is used in the step 3. This enzyme is the most important regulatory enzyme. First and second, this is the slowest step of the glycolysis pathway, which makes it more important. So for the positive regulation, we have fructose 2,6-bisphosphate and AMP, that is adenosine monophosphate. Talking about the negative regulation, it is the citrate, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, ATP and H plus ions, which act as negative regulators of phosphofructokinase. So let's talk about the last important regulatory enzyme, that is pyruvate kinase, which helps in the conversion of phosphoenol pyruvate into the pyruvate or the pyruvic acid, which uses K plus, that is potassium ions, as its coenzymes. So talking about the positive regulators, we have AMP, glucose 6-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate as the positive regulators, and ATP, acetyl coenzyme A and aniline as the negative regulators. So we can see that the initial 5 steps are the preparatory phase and the final 5 steps are the payoff phase. In the initial preparatory phase, we are using the ATPs, and in the payoff phase, we are getting NADH and ATP produced. So the last point to remember in glycolysis are the final products of the glycolysis. So as we can see that at the step number 6, there is the formation of 2 NADH and in total 4 ATP is formed. So calculating it, we are getting 9 ATPs in total. How 9 ATPs? Because 1 NADH is equivalent to 2.5 ATPs. So we'll calculate it for the 2 NADH. Hence we are getting 5. So 5 ATPs from NADH and 4 ATPs in form. We have total 9 ATPs formed. But in the preparatory phase, we are using 2 ATPs. Hence, the net ATP gain would be 7 ATP. So, this is the complete energetics. You can look at it once more. So, the usage was of 2 ATPs. Then we have production of 4 ATP and 2 NADP. So, as we know that 1 NADP equivalent to 2.5 ATPs. So, after calculation, we get 5 ATPs from NADH and 4 ATPs in form. So total 9 ATP. By subtracting the used ATPs from the total ATPs, we get 7 ATPs as the net ATP. So let's discuss a previous year question now. So the question is asking about that what would be the effect of sudden increase in the level of ATP and citrate on an erythrocyte undergoing the glycolysis. So as we have just studied about the regulatory enzymes, and we can find out that citrate and ATP is a negative regulator for the phosphofructokinase. Hence, on sudden increase in the level of ATP and citrate, there would occur inhibition of the glycolysis, because phosphofructokinase, which is the most important regulatory enzyme for glycolysis, would be inhibited because of these inhibitors. So with this, we are done with the complete process of glycolysis in detail. So if you like this video, please do like, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. It would be very helpful. And I'll be coming up very soon with the next video. So till then, keep learning.